and welcome to Pause for Payments. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Kristy Duncan, and I'm so delighted to be here today with Sarah Castellano, who is EMEA Payments and Digital Product Head at JP Morgan, based in London. Welcome, Sarah.
Thanks, Kristy. I'm very excited to be here.
This is going to be a great discussion today, and I'm so excited because we're going to talk about the concept of sponsorship as a tool to build careers in this industry. And I've been looking forward to this discussion because Sarah has a great perspective on sponsorship in stark contrast to mentorship. And I know we talk a lot about mentorship in our careers, but I want to talk with Sarah about how sponsorship can help us build our careers and get us to the next level. So do you want to talk about what that means to you and how sponsorship is different from mentorship?
Absolutely. And this is a topic I'm quite passionate about. I think that when we bring this down, I think sponsors are vested in the success of an individual, and they are different than a mentor, because a mentor is someone with experience that can provide advice and guidance. And if I look at this as like a big event, you have a sponsor that sponsors a big event. They put their name associated with it. They really believe that that event goes with their brand, and they use their channels to promote it. That's what a sponsor brings to an individual relationship. Versus a mentor in the event scenario is really the person behind the scenes helping orchestrate, ask questions, and really provide advice and guidance. I personally found that women are over-mentored and under-sponsored. So it's something that I believe that we as leaders need to really invest in, and I take a passionate, active role within our organization to identify talent that I look at as high potential. And I think there's a difference between high potential and high performing. Sometimes there's someone that has a lot of potential that you really need to lean into a little bit more and support them by either identifying stretch activities for them or thinking about things that I can talk about that they're working on to really promote them and raise their profile as a sponsor would do when you're thinking back to the event example.
This is great. It's a great way to look at support in building a career from an outside party. So you're right. We do talk a lot about mentorship and how it can help women in our careers. I like the concept of a sponsor as kind of a partner in building your career, which is great. Can you share with the audience, Sarah, how sponsorship has maybe helped you in your career?
Absolutely. So sponsorship can exist in many forms. And I found early on in my career that coming to work and just doing a really good job executing on a task isn't necessarily going to get you anywhere. It actually has an adverse effect because you end up operating in a vacuum or on an island. So the way I look at sponsorship is also as buy-in. So if you're working on a task or you're really kind of excited about an idea, it's having a little bit of a roadshow amongst your peers or your colleagues or your network to really get that buy-in on your idea, and then taking that idea forward as a collective. So one way that I do it is every time I get a new job or I get additional responsibility or even just the start of a new year, what I do is I sit down, I put my plans for the year ahead, my strategy, and then I go on and I go and meet a lot of my stakeholders and I discuss what my objectives are and discuss with them if there's a common goal that we could both come together. Because having that buy-in to the objectives that I've set, plus offering my support to them, really brings a collective approach. And not only from that do you get the buy-in from your peers or your network, but you also can get ideas from them, collaborate, and really bring the idea to life and get that kind of sponsorship across the organization that you've got something that you want to deliver and it's beneficial to the wider group. And I think that's so critical for people to really not do things in isolation.
Yeah, so much of what you say rings so true. And I even recall back in early days of my career when I worked at a bank, and I thought if I got in the corner and did a really good job, that somebody would notice and someone would promote me to that next, challenging role. And it doesn't happen that way. But it took me a long time to figure that out. So it's really great for women leaders like you to help us to learn how we can use these tools and these approaches to build out our careers in this industry. And there are so many high potential women who, can benefit from this kind of guidance. So clearly there are huge benefits to sponsorship and mentorship. How do you recommend that women go about finding a sponsor?
I've been fortunate to have both sponsors and mentors throughout my career. I still have them today. And I really think that the foundation of it is built on your network. I think that really being collaborative and being that person that is always raising their hand for the additional stretch activity, that's always really thinking about supporting and partnering in a more collective and collaborative way, starts building up a network. And that network, you can maybe start with someone that you potentially identify as a leader that you want to believe in, or that you just feel is fit for your role, and potentially start as in the mentor capacity and have a conversation with them and have them give you advice and guidance, and then see how that evolves to sponsorship. The key thing about sponsorship is it's earned. It's not something you can go up to someone and say, will you sponsor me? Because a person is putting their brand associated with you. And I think that it's something that if you are doing a really good job and you're bringing people on that journey with you, you're more likely to find someone that will agree with you and naturally start sponsoring you, because it's less of that formality. I look at one of the most powerful things that I've heard and that I wholeheartedly believe in is that your reputation is really what people are saying about you when you're not in the room. And if you have that sponsor that's constantly talking good things about you when you're not there, because they're vested in you, that then has like a wider halo effect to help other people then recognize your strengths. And that then builds your network even bigger than you have it today.
Yeah, that's so true, because we run mentorship programs, and that's kind of one step, but the sponsorship is very much an earned relationship that is built up over time, that doesn't just happen overnight. And having the vested interest by the sponsor for the sponsoree can be so powerful. And I love the way networking dovetails into that, Sarah, because again, going back to my earlier point, we can't just sit in a corner and do a good job. We need to be out there getting buy-in with our strategic partners, with our business partners and colleagues to get, move that agenda forward and get feedback as well. Because there's times when we can do it better, and there's times that we can help others advance their agendas.
Absolutely. And I think feedback is such a critical loop. I think that it takes a really strong individual to ask for feedback and really ask for constructive feedback, and then look to go make themselves better. And I think that comes with mentorship, but that also just comes with your day-to-day job. And having that ability could lead to the fact that someone is now more vested in you because they felt that you took the feedback, you actioned it, and that's almost a step to earning their sponsorship.
Indeed. Yeah, feedback can be a real gift. And I think it can be so valuable in building your career, not only in the day-to-day, but in the longer term. So the sponsors are great when they can actually give candid feedback. And I think that's one of the hallmarks of a nice, a sponsorship relationship is getting that feedback. JP Morgan has this really interesting 35-1 campaign that was launched last year through your Women on the Move. Can you tell us about that? Because I think it's really great.
Absolutely. So Women on the Move is JP Morgan's commitment to fuel female ambition and advance financial equality. And it's a commitment from JP Morgan to provide women with opportunities to drive success in their professional and personal lives. What I love about the whole entire program is that it's to help secure a better future for females. And that's our employees, our clients, and our communities. So it's not something that's just internally focused, it's actually externally focused. And with that, it gives us the opportunities to partner with companies like Women in Payments and really help drive the diversity agenda and support females globally. One of the key programs that I'm a big supporter of and that I believe touches on both mentorship and sponsorship is a program that they launched called 35-1. It's about using 36 minutes in your week to promote females. So spending 30 minutes a week having a coffee with an up-and-coming woman. All of us need coffee, especially those back into the offices on their morning commutes. I have absolutely had more Starbucks than ever being back in the office. Spending 5 minutes a week congratulating a colleague, whether it's an email or really recognizing a success that a colleague has done. And then 1 minute a week talking about it. So really promoting that successful deal, that successful individual. And I think that's really where people start getting associated with success. And honestly, I find that sending an email doesn't take a lot of time, but yet getting that recognition is so important. And I think that recognition is also more important in today's new entrants. If I look at the Gen Zs of the world, they're so focused on, did someone like my post? They really want the recognition. And I feel as though if you're out and you're actively recognizing people for their good work, that you'll end up getting more people to bring their full self to work and contribute more because they feel as though what they're doing is for a greater purpose.
Yeah, this is so great. I love it. It's inspiring, Sarah. But I also think it's important getting that outside recognition because it helps us to lock in our achievements, our accomplishments, our successes. And women in particular tend to be not so good at that and kind of brush it off. Oh, well, it was the team effort. It was, just dumb luck, or I was in the right place at the right time. But you're right. We do need to acknowledge and share our successes because that's what helps us get the confidence to go on to do bigger and better things. I love that program.
Absolutely.
Try to keep that 35-1 in the back of my mind going forward. Wow. Is there anything else you want to share with our audience of women in the payments industry around the world?
I just think everybody, it's great to have a female community in financial services, especially in payments. And I think that if I start looking across the table today versus when I started my career, I've started to see a difference. And I think that we need to continue to lean into that. I think with COVID, we've seen traits that we're really trying to change. So things like always going to the same person when you're in a type of scenario where it's stress, it's really taking the opportunity to give new people opportunities to succeed. And I think female agenda is extremely important. And it goes as a pillar of the wider diversity agenda that we should be promoting as institutions and just as good human beings.
Yes, this pandemic has really brought us, I think, together as a global, but as local communities as well. And it's so important to be able to support each other and to really have that empathy because we're all in this together. It's difficult for all of us in different ways, so many different ways, but being able to support each other in our careers, in our personal lives, in our communities is really important. And I think it's a hallmark of women in particular that we are the carers, the nurturers, and being able to extend that beyond our immediate families and our immediate teams at work is really important. Well,
Absolutely.
thanks for your inspiration, Sarah. It's been really great talking to you about sponsorship, and I love your insights. And I'm going to think more about this going forward and how I can help sponsor other women in their careers and help to uh, shape that whole concept. I think it's quite valuable for our career development. So this has been a great discussion. Thank you so much for sharing your time.
Thanks for having me.
And I'm going to encourage all of our audience to join us online for this and other Pause for Payments webinars that we're hosting with inspirational women from leaders from around the world. And thanks everybody for listening.